Okay, we are back, and now we're going to do this little casual thing. And really, this is certainly unplanned. We didn't plan for this, so it's so uncasual that I'm drinking my Dr. Pepper. Dr. Johnson's got her diet Pepsi. Okay, so last week we're test driving this Dell that we get in, and I'm throwing it around, and I think people are getting the idea. This is the direction we're headed with. Get used to it. Here's what I think. We had never seen one. You know, we had never come across, in all of our time here, we've been talking about this now since last fall, we didn't come across a device that we liked very well. There were inherent problems with the Kuno,
and we looked at the Kuno, and we looked at laptops. We finally made the decision that we wanted some kind of interactive tablet. We believed that it was going to be used the most.
Right. So along came the Dell Latitude 10, brand new, unproven technology, had never seen one, so we got one. We bought one on a 30-day trial and began using it. Let me just say, and I think almost everybody would say, one of the big frustrations is, big learning curve, Windows 8. Windows 8 is a different animal. And we found
it's not that hard.
It's not that hard, but it is a different animal, and people had some issues with that. There's some things with training, obviously we could go forward. Again, what does it look like? What is it trying to feel like? It's trying to feel like a PC, an iPad. It really is. There are some things that I like about it. Sure, it's PC based. Yeah, it pulled up the things I had. It's got some of the ports. It had some of those other things. What I didn't like was the screen tends to be narrower, and when you pull up that keyboard, you can only see about this much, and I didn't like that. Some people had trouble getting, I never figured out how to really do anything with the photographs that I took with it. But it had a nice camera, it did some of those things. So really then we were looking at a keyboard, probably go with it, do whatever else, I don't know. Then we went to Platteview. And I will tell you that in the schools that I have been to where I've seen one-to-one, Platteview, you'd think they'd been doing this a lot longer than they have.
For years.
It is institutionalized.
It is. Every teacher and we walked into, I guess, 15 classrooms.
Yes.
And every classroom that we walked into, nearly every student had their iPad out and they were doing something. If it wasn't taking notes, because of the 10-15 minute lecture that the teacher was introing and presenting information, it was group work on some kind of project, but they were using their tablets all the time. It was amazing. It was amazing. Very cool.
And we walked into classrooms where we saw them taking notes in paper. Some were taking notes on their iPad. I said, your teachers over here, and they've got their PowerPoint up running, their presentation, but they didn't give it to the kids. Why not? They said, because at the freshman level we think that note-taking is important. So they were requiring the students to take notes, not give them everything. Now, the teacher was also good enough that when a student got up, walked over, used the camera, took a picture of the screen, walked back, was done very unobtrusively. It happened, and the student had some visual things in addition to what the teacher was saying. The talking points were there, but the detail, that student still had to be capturing in another way. They talked about what you're going to see is, this is iPad time, this is not iPad time. And I witnessed that, where there were times when kids walked into class, they're working on their iPad, they're doing things, and all of a sudden the teacher said, okay, this is non-iPad time, put your iPads away. If they had a cover, got covered underneath the desk, they moved on to something else. They were using Vine at the time, which is just a real short app or whatever. I really felt like, wow, these people have gone a long way in a very short amount of time, and I think they've thought through how it could work well. We asked about keyboards. They said lots of kids bought keyboards and don't ever use them. And I said, well, we'll have a used keyboard sale over at Conestoga. Put a price on the keyboard, bring it over, maybe our kids will buy it. And then when we don't like them or they don't use them, they'll pass them on to somebody else. You know, and Angela Simpson laughed at that, but I'm probably going to say, if you got 25 keyboards you might want to sell, have kids put their name on a price, and you know, I don't know. But that was one of the things that really kind of set it over the edge. We were at Fort Calhoun previously, and I felt like it was, man, look at this project we made. Look at this video we created. but I never saw that real integration into the classroom that I saw at Platteview.
I think too we've got to think about the device that students are going to be drawn to use. You know, if they had a choice between a Dell Latitude and an iPad, and the majority of them know what they can do with an iPad, and there's all kinds of creative programs and apps with the iPad, and again, it's not about the apps, we know that. If they had a choice, I would say the majority of them would pick up an iPad. And that's what we want them to do. We want them to use these devices in any way that they can in their learning and presenting products and student outcomes. We think it's the iPads.
Yeah. And they said, and you know, almost embarrassingly, I think, but I sat down with a lot of students just in casual ways, whether they were in the dining room or whether they were in the gym after lunch, and I just said, so what about? What do you think? And none of them said we hate it. None of them said we can't do our work with them. They all said this works. Now I asked a critical question to most of them. What about when you go to college? Well, some of them said I'd rather have a laptop. But only because they also said at home I've got another computer I have access to. Here, if I want to do a major paper, I can go down to our labs. And you go to their labs, they still have computers also. It's not exclusively this little pad, you know.
I look at the iPad as an extension of a cell phone, and I have an iPhone, even though I'm a PC user. I just see that the iPads are larger versions of our cell phones. When we do Evernote, you know, we'll hit that little microphone, make a note to ourselves, or we could keep notes in a classroom, and your notes are done. Now, you can do that on a PC too. It's just learning how to integrate different things that we need to make our learning easier, faster, in whatever. I'm sold on it.
Yeah, and the digital citizenship, I think, is one of those things we talked about, because I said, what about your cell phones? And they said it's changed our policy. You know, they can do whatever they want to do on the iPad. So the whole cell phone thing has changed. They can use their cell phones not in the classroom, but in between classes, at lunch. They said it's eliminated the issues that they had with cell phones. Now, will we need to be vigilant? Yes. You say they play computers. I will just say to you right now, I have been in many classrooms at Conestoga in my 4 years here, walked behind students who did not know I was there. They're playing games now. Now, I don't think I've ever come down on teachers. I think I've talked to kids, and usually it's something like, wow, you must have all your work done that you can be playing a game. And they're usually embarrassed about that. Teacher probably is too. Yeah, that it's going to be there. It is going to take vigilance. I have total confidence that we're going to fight some new battles. But we also have some people out there that have kind of led the way for us, and I like the direction that they've gone. iPad, just, you know, iTunes, the whole concept.
iBooks, I really like the idea that even though we can't afford to buy all new e-books from publishers, a teacher can create their own book. And it's using your current textbook, picking out the best pieces of that lesson or that textbook information, scanning those 3 pages out of the chapter that you really like, and that becomes part of your book. You don't scan every single page of a chapter. You pick and choose.
And that is essentially what they've done too. And then more and more of the publishers, if you've got the book, you can open it up to the kids going to that website and having access to it, so they can have the book as well as have it online. Internet access at home is still going to be an issue, and one of the things you have to say is teachers create it in a way that kids can download it, have it on their device, and take it home and not be dependent on the internet. We're not going to provide internet, but you know, just think of how much more we can give them rather than handouts and pages when it's in a fine little document here. I asked a teacher today and said, so what do you think about the transition between PC and going here? Quote, there's lots of free technology out there to convert what you have into a format you can use. And again, if you put it onto a website that kids can go to and then download it themselves, or have internet access at home, you've given it to them. You don't, it's there. It will work. It can happen. So that's kind of why, and I'm sure it looked like a very, whoa, what happened? I thought we were heading this way. The Dell Latitude's an unproven technology, and we know iPad has been around. iPad 1, 2, 3. We're looking at 4s already. Latitude 10. Is it a flash in the pan? In another year, are we able to get something similar, or have they moved forward? We don't know. But I think we have enough consistency to understand where we're at with the iPad.
And what we're finding out from different salespeople that, have made their pitch for whatever product, Flash is going to be going away. Adobe and Flash will be gone in a year. So there won't be a need to even support that platform. USB, they're saying that any of those ports are going to be going out too. So any of those things that, that we worry about currently now, we are hearing that, they're going to not be needed. Last thing before we close. Some of you guys have sent emails out saying, hey, why did we go iPads? I would suspect if we went a different direction than the iPads, we'd get some emails too that said, hey, why don't you go iPads and so forth. So it's good. I like hearing people question decisions on that. It just says that you're out there thinking and you're listening. But I do hope that all of you are open-minded and really willing to work hard on this. We can make this really neat learning environment happen, but it's going to take all of us. It truly is.
And I've told you so many times, you are the best group of teachers I have been around in the 34 years that I've been in education. And I don't have to say that. And when I say that, I put myself on the line as well as you. What I said about choosing, I'm not asking any of you to move on. And I would have told you in a different way if that were true. It's not about that, but truly, it's time. If it fits, it doesn't fit. I left Omaha Nation because I saw a school board come in and knew that the philosophy of how we were doing education was going to change, and I was not wrong. And you can call people and ask people. I saw it coming, and I didn't want to live under that, and so I chose to leave. And I came to Conestoga not because I needed a job, but because I felt like my talents, I match here. A philosophy matches. We want it to match for you. Give it a chance to grow. I'll give you support. I'll give you help. I'll give you encouragement. We'll give you training. We'll give you time. We're not asking for an immediate turnaround to make this happen. But I think if you step out and you see what other schools have done in a very short amount of time, you will see how their devices enhance education, not derive it, not be the driver, but be the enhancement, So there, that's just it. And I think Dr. Johnson and I just came to a new understanding, through the happenings of last week. The Dell Latitude did not blow us away.
Yeah, we wanted to be totally impressed by it, and it was like, this is the device, because we knew the iPad was
we knew what its capabilities were.
Choice.
Sure.
And we wanted to be kind of convinced to buy something else out there that nobody really gave it a first or second look at. And that's what we've been doing. That's what we've been doing with the Kunos and any of the laptops that we looked at, and even this Dell Latitude 10. We wanted to give those devices a chance.
Nobody came to me and said, this is it, this hands down, this is it, this absolutely, run with this baby. And that's what you have to know about that. And while it may look like it was a snap decision or something, it wasn't. Our intent was, let's see this and take a look. Like some of the things it did, I won't deny. If I had to have another little device, but if I had to put it together, I'd pick my iPad over it, I'd pick my laptop over it, then I'd probably pick it. I really would, Dr. Johnson. So that's where we're at. Okay, so there's the casual conversation. We're going to set up, we'll talk about a morning next week where we come in and the conversation can just be questions, answers, however you want it. And we'll put that out for you. But for now, thanks for watching the videos. We kind of like this. It's a chance to give you something to think about again. Think about all the time. We're giving you a week to think of questions to make it right. But that's the beauty of doing these sort of things. And I appreciate Dr. Johnson again for putting herself out here of, you can run this tape back and forward, and this is the confidence that we have, you know, is we're willing to put it out where everybody can go back and say, see, here, this is what you said, and that's what we said. Right?
Right. I apologize if this was too long, first time going through this, but Mr. Friedley, he's a pro.
They got all week to watch it, Doctor. Thanks, everybody.